everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm bringing you my very first Book One Cozies Club chapter by chapter. As you can tell, this series is going to be a little different from other videos on my channel, as it will be an audio-only reading vlog. I've been running Book One Cozies Club, or the first in a series Cozy Mystery Book Club, for a little over 4 years now, and I'm constantly looking for ways to try new things with it. You may have noticed that I have started putting out dedicated reviews for the selections on my channel this year. At the beginning of the year, I was offered the chance to have in real life meetings for Book One Cozies Club at my local Barnes & Noble, but then due to the pandemic, we were unable to continue past our first meeting. This opportunity did bring about a positive change to Book One Cozies Club though, where I had gone from doing quarterly reads to monthly reads again. Even with these changes this year, I'm still not getting much interaction on the selections. Currently, Book One Cozies Club is primarily hosted in the Mystery Madness Goodreads group, which is linked down in the description box below. It's structured in a way that's pretty free in regards to a reading schedule. We would read the selection at our own pace and then discuss our thoughts in the discussion thread that's specified for the selection of the month. I have found that Goodreads really doesn't offer a great way to discuss things without having multiple threads for each selection. As we only have one thread per selection now, it's hard to ask a question or try to discuss something in the middle of the book without spoiling things for others who haven't read up to that point, or maybe even someone who hasn't even started the book yet. In thinking about a way to try to get more interaction on the selections, I thought I really wanted Book One Cozies Club to feel like participants are doing a buddy read with me. And while I was thinking on that, I remembered some buddy reads I had done recently where we would read 2 chapters and then discuss what we had read with each other the next day. This is what sparked the idea for chapter by chapter. I thought that bringing the discussion to my channel not only would be a way for people to read along with me at any point in time, whether they read along with me during the month of the selection, or if they decided they're going to pick up the book later, these videos will be published in a way where they will be able to hear my thoughts and comment on what they read in those chapters without being spoiled. This idea brought on another challenge though. As I wanted to share my live thoughts on the chapters, so basically my thoughts on the book as I read it, I would have to film as I was reading. Now, my main reading time is right before bed. I'm only able to read right before bed right now, and I am a night owl, so it's about 1 o'clock in the morning as I'm recording this. I will never show myself on my channel without a full face of makeup. That's a personal choice and not something I ever see changing. That is also why this series will be audio only. So my idea is that each chapter by chapter vlog will cover 2 or 3 chapters of the selection, and then we can talk about and discuss those specific chapters in the comments. Due to the nature of these vlogs, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't read the chapters that are listed in the video title, I would suggest not listening to that video until you have. Sometime after the last chapter by chapter video has gone up for that selection, I will still film my Book One Cozies Club series first impressions video on it, where I give my general thoughts about it without spoilers for those who may be interested in the series. So that pretty much sums up this project. Now let's get into the specifics about November's selection, which is Buried in a Book, the first book in the novel idea mystery series by Lucy Arlington. This series has 5 books out so far, so since we are beginning this journey on this book, I will read the summary on the back of the book for those of you who may be interested to know what this book is about without having to go to Goodreads. So the back says, my first day as an intern at the Novel Idea Literary Agency began with a caramel latte, a stack of 500 query letters, and a dead man. I don't know which was worse, the queries or the corpse. After receiving her first pink slip at the age of 45, former newspaper journalist Lila Wilkins is desperate for work, even if it means taking a pay cut. After combing through the classifieds, Lila accepts an internship at A Novel Idea, a thriving literary agency in the utopian town of Inspiration Valley, North Carolina. Lila can't imagine anything better than being paid to read, but with a crew of quirky co-workers and a sky-high stack of query letters, she doesn't exactly have time to discover the next great bestseller, especially when a penniless, aspiring author drops dead in the agency's waiting room. No one else seems too concerned about the man's demise, but when Lila uncovers a series of threatening letters, she's determined to uncover who killed the man's dreams of literary stardom. So, I have a physical copy of this book. I am reading a paperback edition, and my copy is 298 pages. However, it does have a sampler for the next book in the series. So the first story is actually 285 pages. So this book has 16 chapters, I believe. Let me just check that number. Yes, 16 chapters. So if we break it down by 2 chapters per video, there will be 8 videos in this series. As with everything Book One Cozy's Club, this is a work in progress. I am trying this format out for the first time, and we shall see how it goes. My thought is that I will head off now and read the 2 chapters, and I will just come back and tell you my thoughts while I'm reading. So kind of like a live reaction, if you will, to what I'm reading. And yeah, so let's see how this goes. I will go and read through chapters 1 and 2, and I will check back in with you later. Okay, so I am on page 8, and so far so good. It seems like Lila is a single parent, which is something that I can relate to because I am also a single parent, and I am a bit younger than Lila, or I was a bit younger than Lila when my daughter graduated from high school, so I can kind of put myself in her shoes. So that's always something nice to be able to have a connection with a character. So, yeah, and other than that, the reason why I stopped to make this little note was because we met one of the ladies at the Novel Idea. And her name made me stop and giggle a little bit because Flora Merriweather. Can we think that her middle name is Fauna, as in Flora Fauna Merriweather from Sleeping Beauty? I think having the character named that just makes the fact that she works in children's books just even more wonderful. So I had to stop and just gush about that or comment on that because it's something that brought a smile to my face. But yeah, 8 pages in, so far so good. I'll check in with you later. So I am on page 11 now, and Of course, right after I made my last comment, the next page, page 9, talks about Disney princesses. So I have a feeling that the author did name her character in that same vein when she named Flora Merriweather. But I was really happy to see that. I don't know. It was just really enjoyable for me to have that connection. But like I said, I'm on page 11, where Lila's looking at the two queries, and query A could definitely be a cozy mystery, but I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, who the current client, or which query the current client wrote. So yeah, I don't think that was very hard to figure out. So the if Ms. Duke or Ms. Burlington Duke is trying to test Lila, I don't think this was a good test because, yeah, it's pretty obvious, especially to someone who's a reader like, like me. I mean, yeah. But Query A could definitely be a cozy mystery. I mean, it definitely has the right feel, I think. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. So I am going to continue reading, and I'll check back with you in a bit. So I just finished chapter 2, and I'm really liking this so far. I think as a reader, this story is pretty easy to get into because we know all of the authors, or at least are familiar with the authors that are being name dropped, if you will. And we know the love of books. I mean, we are readers, and so I'm really enjoying seeing Lila kind of settle into her new job and deal with how the other employees treat her as like the newbie. Zach is kind of wild. I mean, I think if he had come up to me like that, I would have been even more off put than Lila was. Um, but I have a feeling he'll probably grow on me as the story goes on. We already obviously see that she has an attraction to Jude. Is that his name? Let me go back. I think his name is Jude. But yeah, that was a little uncomfortable. I'm a little curious to know what happened to Trey's father. If Lila has always been a single parent, if Lila was married and had Trey from that marriage and maybe got divorced, or if her husband had passed away. I'm a little surprised that the author hasn't said anything about that yet. Usually things like that I find are right up front in the book. But yeah, just something that I'm interested to know. Not necessary for the story purposes, but just something that I'm curious about, I guess you could say. Um, the one elderly gentleman that we come across in the office, and again, I don't remember what his name was because, like Lila, we are just getting to know these characters, but I believe his name was Franklin. When they were describing him, he kind of sounds like my boss, my current boss. My current boss used to have a mahogany desk set before we moved into the offices that we're in right now. And he also had a little putting runner. I'm not sure what you call those, but to practice putting with, that has the little, I don't know what you call them in golf, but where the ball needs to land in the little cup. So he used to putt on one of those quite regularly when we were in that office. Now he just kind of takes practice swings in his office without the little putting green, so the carpet gets worn out rather quickly. But that's neither here nor there with this story, but the description of Franklin really reminded me of my boss, especially with the furniture that he had there. But yeah, I'm really liking that we have met the other agents and kind of get introduced to what their specialties are. And obviously, I believe we've already met the victim that is mentioned in the summary in the back. I kind of feel bad for him. Obviously, the people at the agency have dealt with him regularly, especially if he comes in 2 times a day, but this was a new encounter for Lila, and I feel like she thought he was a nice person. At least that's the feeling I got off of his interaction with her. And he even brought flowers, so I don't know. I'm curious to know what his manuscript looks like. But yeah, I felt really bad about the fact that uh, the flowers he brought kind of got thrown about. And they said some not so nice things about him when he left. So I have a feeling that the murder is going to happen soon. I don't think it's going to take another couple chapters for that to happen, but yeah, so far so good. I'm enjoying what I have read so far. I'm looking forward to seeing what types of queries Lila encounters. That's another little snippet that I enjoyed her reading that first query and it kind of weighing on her about, what if he has a family? What if he has kids to support like she does? And then kind of trying to be more objective about, the fact that the contents of his submission weren't great. Even I had to do a double take where it said, I think it said Don Braun. And I'm like, is he talking about Dan Brown? And sure enough, later on, she does make that reference. But yeah, I am finding the little parts about her job very interesting. I also found the fact that her mother makes a living reading tarot cards interesting. Definitely not something I expected, but obviously her mom is foreshadowing the murder that's going to happen. But Lila has no idea that that is the case, or at least that's how I'm interpreting what the mother was telling her. But yeah, so far so good. So I am going to leave off there. I will be back again tomorrow, where we will read chapters 3 and 4. Um, and yeah, so I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care and smile always. Bye.